everyone, this is Sophia Osfour and welcome on this new episode of my masterclass podcast on healing wounds with the Osfour Self Coaching model. In today's video, we are going to talk about negative experiences and how they can affect your life. But moreover, how you can use the Osfour Self Coaching model to help you to heal those experiences. Also, at the end of this video, you will have a question that I will ask you. And if you think you have the right reply, send me an email. You have a link below this video. And if I found out that you do have the right answer, you can win a free coaching session with me using the Osfour Self Coaching model. Hello everyone and welcome back on my masterclass podcast on healing wounds with the Osfour Self Coaching model. My name is Sophia Osfour and I'm a mentor, a life coach, a master practitioner in NLP, and the creator of the Osfour Self Coaching model. A couple of things before we start, guys. First of all, remember that what I'm teaching you here on this podcast, on my YouTube channel, or on the webinars that I animate, it's only the basic of the model. If you want to learn the entire model and work on one-to-one with me, you can either send me a link, not a link, but an email, there's a link below, or you can go on my website and find out everything about the coaching package that I'm offering. Second point is that, you guys, this podcast and this masterclass has a free worksheet that you can download. This is a paper version of it, okay? So you will find the link here, and this is very important because it helps you to go through the four process. You know, you have the red part, the red part, the orange part, the yellow part, and the green part of this process, right? And as you know, every last Monday of the month, I will send a video where I would use a famous person. As you know, this month is Henry VIII. Last month was Catherine of Aragon. But basically, I use the life of those people as a way to show you how to apply the model. But ultimately, the purpose is that you can see that so that you can use that to apply it to yourself. And for that, you definitely need this little friend here. Once you have it for life. Second point, as you know, every Wednesday I will post a video of this podcast on my YouTube channel and on my Spotify account. The purpose of those is to go into details about the model, because there's so much to say about the model. I cannot do it in one video. The videos are quite long already, as they are. But finally, you also have a webinar that I animate every Sunday. You will find all the link below, guys, here. And if you are somebody and you have no clue what I'm talking about right now, you also have a link below which will explain you everything you want to know about the Osfour Self Coaching model. So finally, this is the last thing, but if you have any question about the Osfour Self Coaching model, don't hesitate, send me an email and I'll be more than happy to answer. So I think I've said everything, now we're ready to go. You ready? Let's do this! Okay guys, so let's talk about experiences, negative experiences. So I've already said this, but I'm going to repeat it. From the perspective of a spiritual side of things, an experience is neutral. There's no such a thing as good or bad experiences. And the best way I could explain it to you is that, I remember one day I was part of this seminar, and basically the lady was explaining, it was about hypnotherapy, and this lady was an hypnotherapist. And she used to work with people who would want to visit the, previous life. And basically the way she explained it, I thought was amazing. So I'm going to give you this example, which I thought is amazing. Let's imagine that from a spiritual side of things, every experiences that you go through are a point of view. So let's imagine that in one experiences, you are a gangster, so you're a gangster, okay, and you're a gangster that steals from a bank, okay. So let's say in one life you're gonna be this gangster, right? In another life you be the person who was robbed. In another life you be the director of that bank. In another life you be the lawyer that's going to help this gangster to come out of this situation, although this guy ended up in prison apparently, obviously. But basically, through different experiences of life, you are going to see the same situation but from different point of view, right? And this will enable you to see the bigger picture, right, of a situation where things are not just black and white. Because for us human beings, when you are so deep into your experiences as human, you tend to see things only in black and white. So now you have like a 360 degree, and in a way you're experiencing different point of view of the same situation, okay? Well, the Osfour Self Coaching model helps you to do the same thing, and I've already said to you, it's a model that's designed to help you see the bigger picture. Because if we talk about relationship, you don't just see the situation based on yourself, but you are also invited by the model to see this situation from the point of view of the other person, your partner, right? And that is something that is not natural for us to do, but that is where power lies. Because when you can do that, then you have a vision of the bigger picture, right? And so in a way you could say the model is a tiny version of what life is doing to us, in a way, for those of us, of course, who believe in reincarnation. Personally, I do, but I don't force my belief in anyone. But I think that everyone can recognize that seeing the different side of one situation is very powerful than just being stuck up in your own opinion. That's one thing. The second point for me, which really led me to, could be one of the inspiration of creating this model, is that, okay, it's good enough, I like those things spiritually, experiences are just experiences, but the fact of the matter is that we are human beings, and for us it's not just an experience, it is emotional, because we are emotional beings. And so for us as a human being, when we experience something, it's going to be labeled good or bad, that's for sure. And it's important to understand why. The reason for that is because in our nervous system, we are wired as a human being to either try to avoid pain or gain pleasure. And so that is why when we're experiencing something, straight away it is going to be labeled by our nervous system as being good, as in, is this bringing me pleasure? Then it is good experiences. Or is this bringing me pain? And then it is a bad experience. And for me, where power lies, that, okay, I like, person development and stuff like that. As you can see, I'm doing a podcast about it and everything. I love those stuff. But I think also that we have to take into consideration the realities that we have. And sometimes, with all these things, I found that sometimes it's a bit too in the air and not so much taking into consideration our reality. And so the reality is that whatever you're going through, it's going to be labeled. So you might as well find a way to deal with that. And that is exactly what the model does. The model doesn't judge if it's good that you think it's this experience is bad or not. If you feel as though it's bad, then you are entitled in that. Let's deal with that, okay? The third part, which is very important, and that this is where this model is so powerful, is that when an experience is labeled as being bad, there's reason for it, because there's an emotional impact that goes with that, okay? If I'm being, I found out that my partner is cheating on me, it's going to impact me emotionally, it's going to hurt me, and so the fact is that those emotions, where are they going to be stuck? They're going to be stuck in your body. And this is where really, I would say, in a way, problems kicks in, because there is only so much emotion that a human being can store, depend the level of it, But if you go through your whole life storing anger, resentment, jealousy, all of those feelings that you have been through along the way, what's going to happen? Well, over time it's going to get really heavy, because experiences and emotions can be heavy, and so at some point you got to be able to find a way to clean this up, and this model is exactly what this is about. I remember, not so long ago, I was like, I saw an old lady, and that could be an example for you also, because I'm certain this is something you could come across. But I was seeing this old lady. She was like rather old, but the things with her was she was walking like this. Like her back was literally like, she couldn't even stand, she couldn't even look you in the eye. She was literally like this. And what it means is that this is somebody who's carrying a lot and a lot of things. Now, maybe some of those experiences that she's been through, I don't know, are justified. They're probably very heavy. But unless you make the conscious decision to empty it, it's going to be even more heavy, okay? And so the fourth point about emotions, and now we can go back once again in the spiritual side of things, is that we as a human being are vibrational being, okay? And emotions have a vibration level that are connected to them. And here's the funny things. The heavier is the emotion, the lower is the vibration. So anger, resentment, sadness, they are low vibration emotions. And what it does is that you can work as hard as you want in your life. If the vibration you carry, because you carry those emotions, your vibration is going to be low also, right? And how is it going to affect your life? Well, simple. You can only attract in your life what you vibrate like. You see what I mean? And so in the terms, in the language of life, it's saying, listen, can you deal with this problem, please? That's what it's saying. So you're going to keep on attracting angry people. You're going to keep on attracting situation that's going to make you sad, or people who are going to cheat on you, people who are going to betray you. What it says is that in life language, it says, can you deal with this problem, please? But of course, from a human point of view, when you don't have the tools, you're thinking, why is it that they've got something against me up there? And so, in a way, it just increases the problem, right? But that is the reality about emotions, right? Emotions that are low in vibration and heavy physically are emotions that really are at low level. And if you carry them, then you are low in vibration. And nobody wants to do that. Okay? So the emotions that you want to, I would say nourish is, of course, courage, happiness, gratitude, blissfulness, And those emotions should be nourished without expecting anything from the outside world. They have to come from within, but that's another practice, you guys. Anyway, finally, I would say this. For me, that is a big one. When you're working with an experience that you have been through, okay, and obviously this experience is translated into something really painful to you, it's abstract, right? You can't touch an experience. Once it's done, you're the only one who's been there. You're the only one who knows what you have been through. And it's very difficult because it's abstract. You can't touch it, you can smell it, but you can feel it, right? And at the end of this podcast, and at the end of this video, this episode, I'm going to show you an exercise that will help you to materialize that experience, which I thought, for me, this helped me. Look, I have been through some experiences, and I wish that I had that tool. In fact, that's probably why I created it. But basically, the problem is that you can't make a change on something you don't know what you want to change. You can't see it. You can feel it for sure, but you can't see it. And so what are you against? You don't know. So this exercise that I'm going to show you at the end of this model, at the end of this video, which is the first thing you do when you start the journey of this model. It's the first thing you do. This first exercise that I practice with people is to materialize the experience into the physical world. And that's why, you guys, I love the metaphor of the rock. And in the exercise that we'll do, I will show you. Now, on the second part, we want to find out, okay, because I want you to, how can I say, apply, what you're seeing in the YouTube video about Henry VIII and this model and everything we're talking here. In the situation of Henry VIII, the one thing that we can see is that here is somebody who, I won't say for the first time, but for the maybe not for the first time, but I think in the most obvious way, is facing a situation where in a way he's not getting what he wants, and clearly he's lost the habit, even though I would question if he ever faced a situation like that, where life is saying no, this is not for you. Now, although there's so many situations where for sure life is gonna say no, and you keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, and somehow you bend reality to what you want, for sure, right? But in this specific situation, it's not working. And I found that one of the greatest skills to have as a human being when we're talking about experiences is to be able to tell the difference between experiences that you can impact by more and more work or more determination or more persistence or whatever, and experiences that you just have to embrace, you just have to accept. And in this case, he's clearly not understanding the difference, right? So in his case, the more life is resisting, the more he's adding more determination, more work, to the point that, in my point of view, he just crosses a certain ethic. Now, the funny thing is that there's no ethic in his case, because he's not a doctor, he's not, a lawyer or someone who's working the business, who's got some ethic. But in my opinion, he's got an ethic as a man and as a father and as a husband. And this is where he loses it. He's a model, of course. And if we could put him in a place where there was an ethic to what he did, what we can see is that he reached a point where getting what he wants at any cost is all that counts for him. And that is, I think, his biggest mistake. Because I think that, but that's, once again, is my opinion, but I think that the reason in the end the Tudor family, really, the dynasty will disappear, is very much because of that. Because when finally Elizabeth I would become a queen, she would refuse to get married, she would refuse to have children. And in my opinion, that is very much connected to what she has seen in her life, right? By the time she's 25, she's a queen, she's seen a lot. And it's a funny fact, because throughout her life she never spoke about her mother, but when she died they found a ring, where she's got a small picture inside of her mother, right? And she's probably seen, obviously with the experience, how much women would struggle to provide those male heir, that were so wanted and expected. And so it's funny is a way to speak, but it's funny to observe how the reaction and action of Henry VIII has led in a way to the one thing he was trying so hard to avoid, right? It almost became like a prediction that he created by himself, because he was trying so hard to get that male heir at any cost, no matter who, no matter what, that in the end it was probably the one thing that cost him that the end of his line. And so that is really what the model teaches us, is, okay, how can I take an upper position where I don't focus so much on here and now and me, but how I can take a bigger picture of things and see the bigger picture, and see myself, the behavior that I have, the behavior that the other person had, and see how can I reply to that in a better way, right? Because when you reach to the point where in order to get what you want, you gotta walk on everybody, that you know, it can never bring anything good in your life, and it can never bring a good in whatever goal you're trying to achieve. It cannot be good in the end. It's not gonna be like a good thing. And so if he was being put in an ethical position where his father position, his husband position would put him in an ethical how can I say structure where he would be in a way judge, although we're not here to judge but only to observe, we would say like this was too far, my friend. Like that was way too far. Okay, so this was for, applying, understanding, and relating the video to this podcast. Now I have like 10 minutes left, and I want to show you this exercise that I told you about. Like I said, those podcasts, and at least I could speak for hours about this model and all of those things, but I want to try to make it short and sweet. So the exercise I want to teach you is this. When you start the model and when you're facing an experience that you've got no clue how this experience is impacting you, and that's really why I created this experience, this model, this exercise. So what you're going to do is that what we want is to materialize the experience into something that you can see and in a way touch, I even want to say. So what you're going to do is that you're going to close your eyes. You're going to close your eyes. And very slowly, you're going to connect to your, the heartbeat, your heartbeat. And you're going to synchronize your heartbeat to your heart, to your breath, sorry. Your heartbeat and your breath together. And as you do that, of course, I said that, but I'm going to repeat it. If this is the first time you're using this model, please use an experience that is easy. Don't go ahead and go and take the worst experience of your life and use that. Okay? Just use something easy, but that has some tension to it, something that was a bit painful, but not like the most dramatic. Now, I want you to think and ask yourself, and by the way, this is just in between. What we are using right now is the natural wisdom that you have within yourself, right? Which is your subconscious mind. So let it go, right? Don't try to control, because there's a wisdom in you. You know, it was Milton Erickson, who was hypnotherapist and who's considered one of the greatest therapists in the world by NLP. In fact, he was used as a model by NLP, and this model is inspired by coaching and NLP because that's what I've studied. But anyway, Milton Erickson was asked at some point of his career, how is it that you're so good? And he was saying to people, listen, I'm not doing anything. All that I'm doing is using the subconscious mind of the people I'm working with, because your subconscious mind has been there for day one. It is your greatest therapist. And so, in this exercise is exactly the same we're doing. We're using the wisdom that you already have, but you're not tapping on. So, very slowly, you close your eyes and you synchronize your breath with your heartbeat. Once you have done that and you had the time, I want you to focus on that one experience. And when it's done, I want you to ask yourself, where is this experience stuck or stored in my body? Where is this experience stored in my body? The second question, when you found out where is it stored in your body, I want you to ask yourself, what color has this experience? You'll come up with a color. And don't try to over control. Just allow the first answer that comes in and grab it. The second question is, what is the shape of that experience? The third question is, what is the material in which this experience is made of? The fourth question is this experience cold or hot? If it's cold, how cold it is. If it's hot, how hot it is. The fifth question you want to ask yourself is, how heavy is this experience? And more precisely, I want you to give yourself a number. Once again, just go by the first answer that comes in. And by the way, when you do this exercise, maybe the first time it's not going to be smooth. It's okay. You do it again and you do it again, and somehow you're connecting yourself to your wisdom. That wisdom that it's there, you're just connecting yourself. You just need practice, because if you've never done anything like that, it might be that you're going to be over controlling or something. It's okay. It's okay. What you want is to feel that sense of flowness. If things flowing, the answers are flowing, and you will feel it when it comes from within. Now, what we have is an experience that has a shape, a color, a weight, a structure, a material that is made of. And now what I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm going to ask you to take that experience, right? And you are going to move that experience out of your body, and you're going to put it in front of you. Right? You're going to put it in front of you. And for me, what I use is that in order to materialize that experience, I transfer the experience to a piece of rock. So for instance, if you want to do this exercise, what you can do is find a piece of rock, right? You put it in front of you and you say, okay, this rock seems to me like this is representing physically this experience. And you do the exercise that I just explained to you. And when you're done with that, you just remove that experience and you put it in there. So now that experience who was stuck or placed in my body becomes a physical object in front of me. Then what I do is that I write down a summarize of that experience. And the word that I've chosen for the experience that I've done here was betrayal. Okay, this was betrayal. The advantage that you have is now, instead of having an experience that is stuck in some part of your body, you have an experience. And what it means to have an experience that is stored in your body is that you have a limited point of view of that experience, right? Limited point of view of that experience. Now, what you have here is a 365 degrees point of view of that experience. That's number one. Second is that when experience is stored in your body, it is emotional because it's part of you. Now it's not part of me anymore, and I'm not as emotional. And remember that on the second part of the model, which is the part where you clarify the roots, this is a part that is always very confronting, right? And you got to be able to see the things that lead, how did you help this relationship to be built the way it was. And that's never an easy thing to do. So what it does is that when this experience is outside of myself, it's easier for me to say to myself, actually I did that, and to give you an example is that here the experience that I've used was betrayal. Trust me, you people, I found out things about myself where it was not easy. It was not easy, but to do it was powerful. It was really, really powerful. It really helped me. So because I'm not so involved now, because it's not there anymore, I can have a better point of view. I can have a detached point of view. And more importantly, I can have a fair point of view, right? So I can have a detached point of view, I can have a full point of view and I can have a fair point of view of this whole thing. Where I can see, you know what, that person has done this and this and this and that, but actually I have done this and this and this and that, which allow that person to do this and this and that, or which was out of order and I should have not done that to that person. This is really, really, really powerful, right? And that, in my opinion, is what makes this model so incredibly amazing. Okay, you guys, so on the next episode of this podcast, we will talk about the first posture of this model, which is benevolence. But until then, all I'm going to say to you is peace, love, and light. Bye-bye.